come join us around the banner. Except for you.
Is there a mic stand or tripod or something?
There isn't. Sorry, we're gonna just speak up.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. We're gonna go ahead and get started, and we are all gonna speak up. Todos vamos a hablar. De voz alta porque no tenemos micrófono.
I know that's not going to work. Just speaking up. We got to figure something out.
Just kidding. We're gonna wait for the podium. Yeah, go ahead with the photos.
Is this right, guys? Take that over. He makes this piece small. This guy makes this piece small. So I'll go on that side. All right.
There you get a couple shots there.
Alright, can we do a si se puede while we're waiting? This is Daisy. Can we empezar con si se puede?
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. What do we want? Ice out of NYC. What do we want?
Ice out of NYC.
What do we want?
Ice out of NYC.
What do we want?
Ice out of NYC.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Stop deportations when? Stop deportations now. Stop deportations when?
Stop deportations now.
Stop deportations when?
Stop deportations now.
What do we want?
Ice out of NYC.
What do we want?
Ice out of NYC.
Where's our podium?
Right.
Are we good to get started now?
Eddie, yes. Does that go up? Yeah. No, I don't mind. Yeah.
Okay, are we good? Tony, thumbs up. Are we good?
Just step closer to it if you can.
Okay. All right, good morning. My name is Yasmin Farhang, and I'm here with the Immigrant Defense Project and the ICE Out NYC Coalition. Today is a really great day to get ICE out of New York City. What do we want today?
Ice out of NYC.
What do we want?
Ice out of NYC.
New York City is a proud immigrant city, and we have worked for years to get ICE out of our city and disentangle from our criminal legal system. We got ICE out of Rikers, and in 2014, the New York City Council passed historic legislation limiting the city from working as an extension of ICE. But our city has fallen behind. In the last 8 years, we have tracked how the city continues to funnel people into the hands of ICE, irreparably harming them and their communities and loved ones. When the city conspires with ICE, this also sends a message to all immigrant New Yorkers that this is in fact not a safe city, not a welcoming city, contrary to what we're told by this administration. We are proud to be part of the ICE Out NYC coalition, which brings together dozens of organizations here today with a very simple mission: to stop the police to deportation pipeline. We're here in support of 3 key bills, Introductions 184, 185, and 158, which seek to put an end to the Department of Corrections and NYPD colluding with ICE and create accountability mechanisms when our city violates the law. Right now and later this morning at the council hearing at 10 a.m., we will hear from community members, advocates, and attorneys about why and how we need to get ICE out of NYC. First, I would like to thank our council members whose leadership in sponsoring these bills and chairing the Immigration and Criminal Justice Committees is critical. Councilmember Hanif, Councilmember Powers, and Councilmember Rivera, as well as many other council members who have already voiced their support and will join us today. So now I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember Hanif, who's also our chair of the council's Immigration Committee.
Okay, the chant is NYC is a sanctuary city. 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 NYC. Great, we're pumped up. I'm Councilmember Shahana Hanif, chair of the Immigration Committee. Thank you so much to the ICE Out of NYC Coalition for bringing us together this morning for this important rally. And I'm so proud to be working with Majority Leader Councilmember Powers and the chair of this hearing, Councilmember Rivera, in putting together this urgent hearing this morning. I know this is many months in the making, and I'm so thrilled to go face to face with the Department of Corrections, Department of Probation, the NYPD, and our Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs in asking the tough questions. I know that this coalition has been at this fight for years now, for over a decade, in making sure that the city's groundbreaking detainer laws pass. We've seen these laws get strengthened over time too. However, the deportation machine continues to exist, wherein our city agencies, cities, local authorities are continuing to work with ICE in fast-tracking the federal mass deportation machine, and that is not right. So, I know advocates have been sounding the alarm to address these loopholes that continue to exist, and that is why the passage of these 3 bills are absolutely critical and timely. So at our hearing, we will hold DOC, NYPD, Department of Probations to account. I know that they will circumvent or say that they're not in violation of the detainer laws, and we are prepared to be firm. We are prepared to be firm in holding them accountable and exposing the culture of xenophobia that exists in these departments. And then make sure that the 3 bills that are designed to close the remaining loopholes get heard appropriately, and we're hearing from families and advocates and New Yorkers to pass these 3 bills. So thank you to everybody who has made today's rally and hearing possible. We have been working day in, day out. I really want to thank Yasmin and the IDP team for supporting me to make sure that this hearing goes smoothly. Thank you all so much.
We'll hear next from Daniel Lopez, a member of Make the Road New York, about his experience with the NYPD.
Hola, mi nombre es Daniel. Soy un miembro de Se Hace Camino. Mi nombre es Daniel. Soy un miembro de Se Hace Camino Nueva York. Estoy aquí para compartir mi historia con ustedes. Primero, gracias por acompañarnos hoy afuera del City Hall para escuchar nuestras voces y pedirle al Consejo Municipal que fortalezca las leyes de protección en la ciudad de Nueva York y que pase la legislación que tenga la cuestión entre ICE y la ciudad. Gracias a la consejera municipal, Hanif, el consejero municipal Powers, por ser líderes de mover este trabajo adelante. La historia comienza en el 2020, cuando fui arrestado por ICE con la ayuda de la policía. En ese verano ICE llegó a mi casa sin anunciarse y al yo ver personas tocando a mi puerta agresivamente me dio miedo y me escondí en mi cuarto y llamé a la policía. Cuando la policía llegó, ellos me dijeron que saliera de mi cuarto para hablar con ellos y que no había nadie ahí. pero cuando salí ellos me llevaron con ICE para que me detuvieran. Esto fue una violación de mis derechos, ya que hay leyes que están supuestas a protegerme. ¿Y por qué la policía no está supuesta a trabajar con ICE? Para mí esta experiencia fue extremadamente traumática y al ser deportado yo no sabía qué hacer, ya que la mayoría de mi vida la he vivido en Nueva York, el cual considero mi hogar, pero afortunadamente pude regresar a casa. Le aliento al Consejo Municipal para pasar las legislaciones 184, 185 y 158 para asegurarnos que Nueva York sea una ciudad que proteja a todos los inmigrantes y que no tengamos que vivir con miedo de ser deportados o arrestados por ICE. Muchas gracias.
¿Se puede, compañeros?
Sí se puede.
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
Let's say that loud, out and clear. What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
I'm going to translate one of our members' testimony to English. Hello, my name is Danielle Lopez, and I'm a member of Make the Road New York, and I'm here to share my story with you. First, thank you for joining us outside of City Hall today to hear our voices and ask the City Council to strengthen New York City's detainers laws and pass legislation to stop collusion between ICE and the city. Thank you to Councilmember Garcia, Councilmember Hanif, and Councilmember Powers for leading the charge in moving this work forward. My story begins in 2020 when I was arrested by ICE with the help of the police. That summer, ICE arrived at my house unannounced, and when I saw people aggressively knocking on my door, I was scared and hid in my room and called the police. When the police arrived, they told me to come out of my room to talk to them, and that no one was there. But when I came out, they allowed ICE to detain me. This was a violation of my rights, since there were laws that are supposed to protect me and that explicitly say that the police are not supposed to work with ICE. For me, this experience was extremely traumatic. When I was deported, I did not know what to do, since most of my life I have lived in New York, which I consider my home. But thankfully, I was able to come back home. I encourage the City Council to pass bills 184, 185, 158 to make sure that New York is a city that protects all immigrants and that we don't have to live in fear of being deported or arrested by ICE. Thank you very much. What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
You have to obey the laws of the land that you come into.
Thank you, Daisy.
Do you provide the same for us Americans?
Next, we're going to hear from Alma Maraviaga, whose son Javier
Give us
was
what we want us to give
unjustly
you.
and illegally turned over to the
Fair is
custody
fair.
of ICE by the Department of Corrections.
Stealing.
But before we hear from Alma, one more time, what do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
No more
Okay.
freebies.
ICE out of NYC.
No more freebies.
Welcome to Alma Maraviaga and Daisy.
I want to move to Australia. You know what? I'm talking with the government so I can legally move there before I go there. I'm not pushing my way there to make sure they give me house and everything. So what?
Muy buenos días a todos, mi nombre es Alma y quiero hablar de mi experiencia como familia y como madre cuando un error operacional se convirtió en una pesadilla para nosotros como familia y como comunidad.
Hi, my name is Alma. I'm going to share my experience and to tell you how like an operational mistake became a nightmare for myself and my family.
Cuando 2 minutos o 3 minutos, que es lo que cuesta, lo que pasa en una llamada de la policía a ICE, se convierte en una pesadilla con consecuencias incalculables. Nosotros, esa llamada nos costó un agotamiento y un desgaste físico, mental, socioeconómico, no solamente para nosotros como familia, sino también como para la comunidad.
When like a 2-3 minutes call with ICE became a nightmare, and that caused my family a lot of struggles, not only physically, emotionally, but also mentally.
Físico porque como familia, como madre, nosotros tratamos de agotar y de buscar todas las ayudas que se nos informa que están disponibles para nosotros en una ciudad santuario, donde creemos que la policía no debería de tener ninguna posibilidad de comunicar a ICE cuando una persona está bajo su custodia.
Myself and my family consider New York a sanctuary city, and we wouldn't have imagined that in this city we'll have experienced this.
Esos 3 minutos nos costaron un desgaste físico, nos costaron un desgaste socioeconómico y nos costaron un desgaste emocional que hasta el día de hoy y creo que por el resto de nuestras vidas va a continuar, y no importa cuántas terapias nosotros tengamos que recibir, esa pesadilla, esos 2-3 minutos nos sigue costando y nos sigue pasando factura.
Those 3 minutes were a nightmare, and it had an economic, physical, and emotional impact in my family. I don't know how many therapies will actually help solve this.
Ese error operacional, como se le llamó, en un minuto nosotros nunca tuvimos conocimiento, la policía nunca nos informó lo que estaba pasando, y no solamente llamaron a ICE para llegar a recoger nuestro familiar, ellos mismos transportaron a la localidad de ICE, y eso fue, como les digo, una pesadilla que empezó y duró durante 14 meses legalmente, pero nosotros aún seguimos y se nos sigue pasando esa factura.
The police actually helped them to take my family member, and that was truly a nightmare. Those 3 minutes talking to them were really a struggle, and we're still handling that situation that in the end it extended 14 months later on.
Eso es lo que quisiera que, por esa razón es la que quisiera que sí pasara esa ley, porque nosotros no solamente sufre la persona que está bajo custodia de ICE, sufre una familia, sufren los amigos de esa familia, somos los daños colaterales de una irresponsabilidad que se cuenta en 1, 2 o 3 minutos. Gracias.
That's what we are demanding that this legislation should pass, because it's not only the person that is detained or requested to attend to ICE that it suffers the struggles, but also the family who has the collateral damage. And that's what we are demanding to pass this legislation. Thanks.
Thank you, Alma. Gracias, Alma. Next, we're going to hear from Robbie Rockbeer, New Sanctuary Executive Director.
Good morning. Before I tell you my personal story about the interaction between ICE and NYPD, I want to tell you why we believe no one should be deported and the immigration law should be repealed. In the last 5 years, since 2018, 7 states have tried to repeal their slavery law. Last 5 years, the slavery laws have been voted to repeal it. Only in the last 5 years. And none of us here will want it back on the books. Do you want slave laws on the books?
No.
Do you want slave laws on the books?
No.
Nobody should want slave laws on the books because it's racist. So when we talk about immigration laws, which was based upon racism, the Chinese Exclusionary Act, etc., we stand on strong grounds that we should not be targeting our community or black or people of color. We shouldn't be targeting them because of who they are. Not because of what they have done, but because of who they are. I'm a colored person, right? We are all colored persons one way or the other. Even the white people turn red when you tell them you like them, right? Sorry. But ICE fulfills that racist agenda by continuing to break our spirits, continuing to intimidate us. Right now, we are working with clients from our local, from Bronx defenders, from Brooklyn defenders who have been there for more than 1 year. 1 year in immigration detention. Why? What have they done? Even when their cases are being overturned from the court, they are still being held in immigration detention. I was going to curse here, but we're on television, right? How messed up is that? That is wrong. So we need, in addition to the racism, we need to repeal the immigration law because of the harm it causes to the person, but more importantly, to the community and the families. So when in January 2018, I was working and my office was in a church, and we called NYPD because we saw a lot of strange vehicles around the building. Vehicles that were sitting there for 5 hours and more. When we called NYPD, guess what happened? Guess what happened? Nothing. They didn't come. The church is calling about these strange vehicles, and they did not show up. On January 11th, when they shackled me and put me in that van and took me away, NYPD was already prepared and already surrounding the van to stop us from deporting me. When I was in the hospital, they came in, the NYPD, there was a dozen ICE officers, but then the NYPD came in bulletproof vests, riot gear, AK-47s. I think it's AK-47, big guns, right? They were high-fiving and shaking hands, and yeah, we are here, talking to the ICE officers. How much collaboration do we need to have? What needs to happen? When they were taking me to the airport, there was an entourage. It was being led. ICE was being led by 5 NYPD vehicles into New Jersey. 5. I couldn't count what was in the back, but there were 5 NYPD vehicles. When we fought the city and they changed the laws in the training manual to say that the officers should not be working with ICE, we continue to see that violated. We still see ICE and the NYPD working together. That is why we need to change the laws to make sure this is a sanctuary city, not based upon the laws, but based upon the people who stand here who will fight ICE tooth and nail. We are here to fight ICE. We are here to stop ICE. And lastly, we wanted to speak at the steps of City Hall. They said no, because they were working on it. So many people working on the steps, right? What is Mayor Adams afraid of? Does he think that the intimidation, that NYPD and law enforcement is about intimidation? Does he think that it's going to help safety in our community? Of course not. It doesn't. So we hold Eric Adams also to the standard, to the bureau standard. We hold him up also to be with the community and stop this interaction and stop this working with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They are a horrible agency. In fact, I always point to Hitler using the immigration model to do what he did. I'm not calling them Nazis. They say I do, but I'm not. But they are very close. You cannot see a difference. I will stop here and I'll pass it back to Yasmin and to say that what do we want?
ICE out NYC!
What do we want?
ICE out NYC!
Thank you, Ravi. We'll hear next from Meghna Phillips with the Neighborhood Defender Services, who will share about her client, Mr. Rasputny, who was just recently impacted by the collusion of multiple city agencies with ICE. Meghna?
Thank you to the ICE Out Coalition. My name is Meghna Phillips. I'm a public defender at the Neighborhood Defender Service of Harlem. And together with my colleagues, I represent Alexei Rasputny, a 46-year-old New Yorker who came here from Ukraine when he was a teenager. On September 15th of 2022, just a few blocks away from here, Mr. Rasputny was at criminal court in Manhattan for a routine appearance, after which the judge ordered him to be temporarily taken into DOC custody for a week for a hearing to be held in his criminal case. Instead, Mr. Rasputny's criminal defense attorney from my office got a call from him, a distressed call a few days later. He was not at Rikers. He was no longer in New York. He was at an immigrant detention facility in Pennsylvania because DOC and NYPD and the Manhattan DA's office had colluded with ICE to detain and send him to a detention facility without informing any of us. He had never previously been in ICE custody. Mr. Rasputny is now back at Rikers because the Manhattan DA's office scrambled to bring him back to continue to prosecute him. He's serving time on a misdemeanor conviction. I spoke to him last week about what his experience was like, and I just want to share his words with you. I did not expect expect this at all. I couldn't understand what was going on. I did not understand why this was happening to me. The DA detectives did not tell me what was happening. The NYPD officers did not tell me what was happening. No one explained anything to me. They just handed me off to the people from immigration. At Federal Plaza, they did paperwork. They took my fingerprints. They took me downstairs, put me in a van, and drove me away. I didn't know where they were taking me. It was nighttime. I couldn't see where I was going. I felt like I was being kidnapped. I didn't know where I was going, and I was expecting to go to Rikers. I reached there in the middle of the night, and when I got into the unit, the other people held there told me where I was, that it was an ICE prison. They said, they are going to deport us. I was really sad. I was angry. It happened out of nowhere. The country I'm going back to, I haven't been for 29 years, and it's at war. My life is here. I don't want to go back to ICE custody. I will get sick. They won't do anything about it. I will be stuck there away from my family in New York and New Jersey. I don't want to go back to Ukraine. I was surprised that New York City would do this and hand me over. I thought New York didn't hand over its people like that. This whole country is made up of immigrants. I don't know why they did that. It was terrible how they treated me. So I just want to say this is not a remote issue. This is not an issue from the past. This is current. This is happening right now. This happened to our client a few months ago. And the city needs to close the loopholes in its detainer laws. It needs to strengthen those laws. Mr. Rasputin's rights under the detainer laws were violated, and he cannot sue under those laws because there's no private right of action. A right without the ability to enforce it is no right at all. And the mayor's office needs to take responsibility for what happened to our client and what has happened and continues to happen to so many New Yorkers, and stop colluding with ICE.
Can you spell your client's name, please?
Alexei Rasputny, Aleksy, last name Raspoutny.
How old is your client?
He's 46.
And where is he from originally?
Ukraine.
Thank you, Magna. What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC.
As Magna just explained, there is no right at all if it can't be enforced. And we're going to hear now from Robert Willis, Justice Advocate Coordinator with Latino Justice, about how we can do just that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I'm here representing Latino Justice, and as an African-American man representing a Latino organization, that fully represents what New York and America should be about. I just want to speak to the role that qualified immunity plays in the treatment of our immigrant community. Qualified immunity allows our officials and our police department to run roughshod over the stated goals of New Yorkers. We believe in being a sanctuary city. We believe in not cooperating with ICE as it currently stands. But our public officials and our law enforcement run roughshod over that because of the role that qualified immunity. They are not held accountable to the decisions they make, which are ad hoc at best. And just for a historical reference, this notion of qualified immunity is nowhere in the Constitution. It has not been legislated by the Congress. It is a doctrine, a belief system that was conjured up by police unions and supported by the Supreme Court and ratified over and over. And what it allows our local officials and police officers to do is to treat our immigrant community in a manner that instills fear, that instills the threat of being deported, leaving family members behind, because there's no repercussions to the decisions that they make. I don't think it's ironic that we are kept off of City Hall steps for this particular topic of getting ICE out of NYC, when this has been, where the way Eric Adams has handled the immigrant community in New York City has been appalling. It has been a total disaster how he has handled it. And we at Latino Justice ask that Eric Adams revisit his immigration policy, the treatment of our immigrant community. ICE should not be cooperated with by New York authorities, whether it be legislative officials or the police, because we as a city, we want to be a sanctuary community. We believe in humanity above any nationality. We all want what's right for all human beings at all times. And we need to support our immigrant community, not threaten them, not treat them badly, harshly, or ostracize them. And we at Latino Justice will always stand for the justice for all human beings, especially those in the Latino diaspora. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. In just a little bit, we are going to be heading into the City Council for a hearing jointly held between the Immigration and Criminal Justice Committee to hear more testimony from community members, advocates, and attorneys about why we need to pass these 3 bills and protect immigrant New Yorkers. I would like to highlight that there was previously an oversight hearing in 2021, which many of our same organizations were present at. None of this is new. We have already long been explaining and tracking and documenting collusion. But we encourage you to come to the hearing today or watch it on the live stream because we are ready to present clear evidence of this collusion and ensure that it is brought to light and that the city is accountable to responding to what we have to say. I'm going to hand it over to Daisy with Make the Road New York to close us out.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us to spread the message that New York is and should be a sanctuary city. We actually want to ask ICE to stop working collaboratively and closely with the police, and that's what we are. And we also want to stop the suffering and the damage that many families have experienced and continue struggling due to ICE. So what do we want, folks?
ICE out of NYC!
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC!
What do we want?
ICE out of NYC!